Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Friday and it's my day off. Yay! So we're going to actually do a review of the Art and Fly 120 colored pencil set. This colored pencil set, I have the 72 set. I was informed there was a 120 set and I watched Christina's partial review on them, so I purchased them. And they're a pretty nice looking pencil. I've always enjoyed the Art and Fly products, so them having a 120 set was really kind of exciting for me because I do actually really like their 72 set. So I didn't look at the 72 set, but I am assuming that all the 72s are in this bag as well. So let's take a quick look at that. And we'll see. So just one quick second while I find the Art and Fly. It should be up there in the A's with the Artlicious, I do believe. Okay. So far, just by looking at them, the only problem I had with them is the bag, and I'll show you why in just a second here. So here are the original Art and Fly 72s. So I do use them. It's just I don't use them very often. And I think it was because some of the colors, I need more color. So let's take a look at some of the numbered colors here. So we have numbers 1 through 72. So let's see if black is a 72. Yes. Oh, goodness. Come on, turn. So 72 is charcoal, and here 72 is charcoal. So they are the same names and the same numbers. So number 71 would be iron. And in here it is iron. So yeah, the 72 set, from what I can see, are the exact same colors. Let's look at artichoke here. And artichoke, 53 and 53, both artichoke. So if you have the 72 set, you can definitely put away 72 of the new colors and replace them with your 72 set and put those away for backups. Just so you know, the Artlicious, which are a beautiful pencil, are actually on sale. So I think the Art and Fly are too. I'll leave you a link for the Art and Fly, both the 72 as well as the 120. Basically, if you're looking for the 120 and you can't find them on Amazon, click on the 72 set. The 120 set is listed there. All right, so the problem I have with the bag, now this is the only issue I have, is that the leaves are so tightly sewn into the bag that when you get to the bottom part, it doesn't stay open. It's very difficult to get it to stay open. It's very stiff, very stiff. And I've thought about maybe just cutting the leaves out so that I could just place them in here. But another problem with the bag is getting them out of this bottom leaf here. This doesn't fold down, and it doesn't pull down far enough to really get the pencils out. As you can see up here, just me trying to get the pencils out has given coloring on the bag. So that is my first issue, is with the bag itself, is not very conducive to using it. So I may end up putting the Art and Fly in a different bag, just because I like to have ease of access. I do apologize. It seems that the work I did yesterday is still under my nails even after having a shower. Digging around and pulling weeds and all that fun stuff that we do at work. My hands are a bit stained. Sorry about that. So, the bag. They are individual slot, which is great. And like I said, it does hold the full 120s. The only problems I have is trying to keep the bag open while I'm pulling a pencil out. And of course, pulling a pencil out of these bottom parts here. This one here is not so bad. I can bend it most of the way, but these ones here at the end, you have to sort of pull them out in a strange order, in a strange way, and you risk breaking the tip of your pencil that way, and I don't like that. So that's my only beef so far is the fact that it's hard to get out of the bag. Now, of course, I have done the swatch, so it is swatch time. So sit back, relax, grab your cup of coffee, and we will swatch these up, and then we'll take a look at the swatch and do some testing, and then maybe some coloring with them. So just one moment while we get the swatch going. Okay, so that wasn't so bad. Okay, so we have all 120 swatched, and as you can see here, my close-up camera isn't very fond of green colors, so they are green, they're not completely gray. And with the oops in the swatch, I actually put Tangelo where butterscotch is supposed to be. So I erased it and it did fully erase. So I was able to put the butterscotch there and the Tangelo next to it without having to redo the swatch, which is great because I really didn't want to reprint it. It has a very, very nice set of colors, a really good range all the way through. It has a great set of yellows and even has a couple of really light yellows down here that they put down here for the skin tone combinations and are probably in that skin tone set in that order. Um, so really good set of yellows, a nice set of orange from light orange down here with the carrot, the tangelo, pumpkin, cinnamon, and the paprika. You know, all of those going into that. I'm going to switch you over to the close-up camera here so you can see it a little bit better. So we have our oranges here, and here is the carrot down here. So, of course, we've got a really good selection of orange as well as some red tones here. So we've got tiger, which is a little bit of an orange red, brick, which is definitely a burnt orange red. And then we've got chili, true red, French wine, crimson, ripe rhubarb, which is a really, really dark red, just teetering on the side of pink. And then, of course, we've got our maroon, pomegranate, mulberry, uh, Byzantium, and then we start into our pinks. Now, the pinks is a huge, huge selection of pink. It's a really, really good selection of pink. A good selection of purples as well, including the ones up here that are a red burgundy type of purple. And then we have our blues, starting with our aquatic blues into our dark blues and into our light blues. And then we go into our greens and a fantastic selection of greens, not only aquatic greens, but leaf greens and foliage greens as well. And then we go into our skin tones here, and then into our light browns. And then down here, we start into our darker browns and our grays. Um, the selection of grays is still pretty good, but I would prefer a couple or more. A lot of people don't use gray. I use gray all the time. But it's a personal thing, it's a personal preference. And of course, everything in coloring is a type of perception. How you perceive color, how you perceive shadows, how you utilize the colors in a set is always up to you and how you see things. So I find that there's not enough. Some people may find that there's too many. Other people may not ever use them. So it's all a different perception and that sort of thing. Same with the metallics. I love using my metallic colors for not only for shadows, but to give that little bit of shimmer when I'm coloring things like glass, um, coloring things like metal and stuff like that. I like to give a little bit of that shimmer. Now these metallics, I'm going to turn the light on here so that you can see the metallic shine on them. So they are not glittery metallics. They are a flat metallic, but it does give a bit of a shine, which is great. All right, so let's do some testing. So we've got our water test here and our smudge test. We've also got a gradient, a rainbow, white blend, as well as a blender pencil blend. So let's give this a shot. Let's pick out a red, a blue, and a yellow. So let's start off with the red and the yellow because I know there's a true red in here. That's French wine. So there's true red. And let's grab a yellow. And of course, yellow is in the first part, so it's hard to get to. I'm going to actually pull the white as well for the blend. And I do believe there's a true blue in here too. There's a couple of really cool colors, and the new colors are really kind of cool. Like Honolulu and that sort of thing. Let's take a look here and see what color is the blue that we want. We want a true blue, so Fading Night is a good one. So is Lapis. Well, let's grab a sapphire blue. I think sapphire probably work really good. Maybe. If I can find it. And this is why I always use my color chart. So it is right here. Because my color chart tells me where things are in my sets. All right, so let's start with our watercolor thing here. Let's grab a water brush with some water in it. And we're going to start with our yellow. And I'm just filling in. These are an oil-based pencil, so you do have to layer a bit. It's not really a smusher pencil. Definitely works well on this cardstock. Of course, this is the Nina 65, and it works quite well on the cardstock. When I was swatching, I did not find any scratchy pencils. You know, they did not feel overly dry. They did not have any chunks of wood or something in them that created a scratch, which is great. And I didn't find that with the 72s either, so. And like I said, they are a layering pencil, so you do have to, in order to get full coverage, just do a couple of layers. You can press hard and just burnish the heck out of it if you want to, and still get a good layer. However, you're not going to be able to layer anything on top of that. And in this area here, I'm not really worried about that. But when you do press hard and burnish an area with a pencil, you can risk the chances of breaking your pencil. So it's just easier just to layer and be gentle with your pencil. All right, so we've got the red down. We're starting on the blue. Another reason why I chose this blue is because later on, when we get into doing our rainbow blend and that sort of thing, I want to be able to show you the change from yellow to green. And some of the darker colors don't show that transfer very well. It's not a bright green. It's usually a dull green, and I don't like that. I want the bright green. And this will give me a bright green. Okay, so we're just getting that final layer on there, getting it solid. There we go. I'm going to take my brush and dust it off, make sure I don't have any loose bits. And then we're going to take our water brush And get some water flowing in it. So the yellow didn't move. The red moved a little bit. And the blue didn't move. So the red, which is a highly pigmented color, did move a little bit with the water, but the blue and the yellow did not. So if you're going to use a water medium on your finished colorings, be very, very sparse with it. As I say with every review, in order to use it like a glitter pen or anything like that on top of your work, it's always best to try to blend your work first. Use your blender pencil, whether it's the Caran d'Ache or another wax blender, and using that blender will not only blend it out and remove all your white spot, but it will also seal it with a wax coating so that when you do go over it with something, like for example, if you're going to go around something with some glitter or a paint, when you touch into any of your colors, you're not going to bleed those colors out. It will remain steadfast where it's supposed to be. So we're going to do the same thing here for the smudge test. We're going to layer up the colors, make them nice and heavy. Now I'm coloring the same way I would in any coloring. I'm not going to put more down than I would if I was coloring a page, because what I'm trying to test here is whether or not when I'm done coloring an area, if I touch it with my hand or rub it with the palm of my hand area, this part of my hand, when I'm coloring something else, if it's going to smudge out of the lines. So I'm going to color these exactly the same way I would color a circle or color a flower or anything else, with the same amount of pressure, the same amount of layers, that sort of thing. Because what I'm trying to figure out is whether or not it's going to move with the oils of my hand or with the movement of my hand. And that's why I do a smudge test, because there is a lot of times where I will be coloring something and go to color something else and not have the background done or not have, the large area done and end up with a really bright color streak on it because my hand has moved the pigment. I have had that happen and I don't like it when it happens. So if I know that a set is um, that a set smudges like that, I will tend to use the blender a lot more while I'm coloring before I move on to the next piece. Because sometimes I don't use my blender until the very end, depending upon the picture and depending upon the pencils that I'm using. If they smudge a lot, I will burnish and blend every little space as I'm doing them, just so that I don't move the pigment with my hand. Because, yeah. And I try to make sure I have all of the amount of color on it that I want, all the different layers and different colors. I make sure that I have all of that on there before I move on to the next one. Or I wear a glove. If I'm not going to burnish everything or blend everything right away, I'll wear my glove. And you can get a glove at Amazon or at any art supply store. I got mine with my my light pad. So I have a light pad and it has a glove. All right, so the smudge test. Now, in order to do the smudge test and make sure that I have no water on my finger, and I just take my finger and I rub it. And I see how far that'll smudge. So all three of them do move with the oils of my hand. The red more than others, but the yellow and the blue have also moved. So this is a set of pencils that I would definitely wear my glove with, or I would burnish as I went along. All right, so let's do a gradient testing here, see if they will build color and combine color easily. So I'm going to grab a really light pink, a medium pink, and a dark pink. So I've got blush pink, Kirby, and Rosebud. So 93, 95, and 94. These are of the new colors, and I'm going to give them a quick sharpen. So we're going to actually test the sharpener with them as well. I have the electric sharpener here, which is the Task Biz electric sharpener that I reviewed a little while ago. Very nice sharpen on that. Nice sharpen on this one as well. And a nice sharpen on that one as well. Now they are fairly well centered. The only one that seems to be a little off is this one. Oh, maybe this one as well. So they're not so far off that you're not going to get any color out of them, but they are off a little bit. So definitely something to keep in mind. I think it might be the way I sharpened it as well. All right, so I'm going to go in with blush pink first. And once again, I'm going to layer these the same way I would if I was coloring with them. I'm not going to put a lot of pressure because it'll kill the tooth of the paper, and I want to layer other colors on here. So I'm coloring on this area here more, leaving that tail open to add the next color. So there's our blush pink, and then we're going to go in with our Kirby, and we're going right into that tail. And then we're going to put a tail here for the next color, but we're going to build up this color here. And then we're going to take our blush pink again, and we're going to finish off the build here. And then we're going to take our Rosebud, and we're going to go over top of that tail. And we're going to come out from it. And I'm just layering it up, building up the color. And then we will take the blush pink again. No, not the Kirby pink, sorry. And we'll just go over that tail one more time, blending it all together. Like so. So we do have a fairly good gradient. So we've got a light, a medium, and a dark. And it does travel down. So it does do that very well. And they do blend together quite nicely. So now we're going to put these aside, and then we're going to do our rainbow. Now our rainbow starts off with our red. So we're going to start our red. And we're going to build up our red. Make sure that we put a good tail there for the yellow to blend into to create orange. And then we're going to take our yellow and we're going to make sure that we put a tail there for the blue to blend into. We're going to take the red again. And build up that orange color. Like so. Make sure I don't get a orange bit where the blue is going to go. Now with our blue, we're going to go into the orange, or into the yellow, I mean. And we're going to build a green. And then we're going to go back into the yellow here with the green area. We're going to add a little bit more yellow to give it that bright green color that I like so. So they do blend to create the rainbow. So they do basically color change between adding color to it. So if I was to go over this with something that didn't blend well, I would end up with a harsh line where the color stops and then the next color begins. I wouldn't get a color change. It would just be the end of one color and the start of a new color. Where with this, we have a color change from red to orange, yellow to green to blue. So it does rainbow very, very nicely. Now we're going to blend these. We're going to use a white to blend, and then we are going to use the blender, the Caran d'Ache blender pencil to blend as well. So we're going to start with our pinks, and I'm going to do it the opposite way than I did here. I'm going to start with the darkest first. Now with white, just remember that when you blend with white, it is going to lighten your colors. It's going to add that white to your colors and tone them down. So if you are already using a very light color to color blend, you would want to blend with your blender pencil, your clear blender pencil, because there is no pigment in it. It's just the blender. It's just the um, base of your core color. So if your base is a wax based, I always suggest the Caran d'Ache. However, the Caran d'Ache also works on your oil based, but there are some oil based ones that the Caran d'Ache blender doesn't like very much. So try to make sure that you test your blenders, your pencils, to see which blender works best with them. There are several different types of blenders and different brands of blenders. The Lyra works really well for blending in oil base. So does the Derwent. Is also really, really good for the oil base. The Caran d'Ache does well with the oil base as well as the wax based. The Lyra and the Derwent, I find with the wax based and the oil based, the wax based pencils, it doesn't blend them as well, and it seems to pick up a lot of the pigment. So be very careful with that. All right, so we've got our light, medium, or our dark, medium, and light. Now we're going to blend this together with our white. So we're going to start here and we're just going to fairly heavily try to blend that white spot out a little bit and blend those colors together to create that full gradient. Now white did move some of the pigment around, but it's done more of just a burnishing than a full blend. So it does blend with the white, just not as well as I'd like it to. All right, so we're going to take the rainbow colors here and we're going to blend with the blender pencil. So we're going to start with our red. And I'm going to leave a lot of white spot because I want to be able to blend that white spot out if I can. And that's one of the main things I use a blender for, is removing the white spot as well as moving the colors together. But the majority of the things I do with the blender pencil is remove the white spot. I find that blending colors to create new colors works way better, or to create a gradient, it works way better just to leave a tail and overlap and blend them together yourself. If you know what I mean. I want that brighter there. There we go. So I've got my Caran d'Ache blender here. Let's see if I can find the other one that's sharper. Maybe not. I have another one that's sharp. That one is really dull and really short, so hard to sharpen. So let's see if I can grab that sharper one, if I can find it. Because it's sharper, but it's small. So I must have popped it out of the... It's okay. It'll work. All right, so we're going to start from our yellow into our green and into our blue. And as you can see, the Caran d'Ache, not only does it blend the colors quite nicely, but it eliminates that white spot as well. If you press too hard on it, you will find that you have lifted up some of your color. But and try to make sure that you wipe your blender before going into another color, because it will move that color. So if I didn't wipe my blender right now, I'd be making purple, which is fine, but because I had some blue on my blender. So it does work very nicely with the Caran d'Ache blender. So the red failed the water. The rest of them did fine. They all failed the smudge. They do smudge when you move across them heavily. So if I'm just going like this, back and forth, let's see. I'm not getting a huge amount of smudge. But with my hand, I end up going like this, which is giving a bit of smudge. So be careful. Make sure that you, if you run your hands across your paper, make sure that it's not going to smudge first. So do a quick little area. If it smudges, make sure that you blend before you move on to the next area. Now the cost. These pencils is 120 set. They are $34 approximately with coupons and whatnot that are available. So they're $34 for the 120, which works out to 28 cents a pencil. You really can't beat that. And it comes with a case. Even though the case is not the best, it still does protect the pencils. So for a 120 set in the case, that is a fairly nice, well, it is a really nice oil-based pencil, is really, really good. So that is our testing. We've done our water test, our smudge test, our blends, as well as our blender pencils and white blending. So our removal of our white spot is basically what I was doing there, as well as the cost analysis. So for the cost of them at 120 pencils at $34, that's just pennies per pencil, which is great. All right, so let's color with these a little bit. What do you think? Should we color with them for a little bit? So I'm going to do a couple of different little areas on my coloring part here. So I'm going to start with our pinks, and I'm going to do the flowers. So I'm going to use the same pinks that I pulled out before. So I'm going to use the Rosebud, the Kirby, and the Blush Pink. So we're going to start with our Rosebud in our darker areas, our shadows. And I did put a bit of a tail there for when I blend into that from with the other color. Now we're going to go up into here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of a tail and give that blendability. If I stop dead, like in these areas, and then tried to put the color on them, I would end up with a line. And that line is a huge pet peeve for me. I don't like it on my colorings, so I try not to do it unless it's intentional. If I intentionally want that line there, I will leave it. But if I'm trying to blend something or do something with multiple colors, I do not like that line there. All right. So today, if you are in the Discord group, even if you're not in the Discord group, she is one of my moderators, and it is her birthday. So if you haven't already seen my channel before, you know that DJ's Colorful Escape is also a YouTuber, and she has been on my channel previously. But it is her birthday today, and in the Discord group, we are going to be having a little bit of a birthday party for her. So if you want to join us over on Discord, just hit the link below and come on over and help us celebrate her birthday. And yeah, Davissa, happy birthday, dear. I hope you have a wonderful birthday full of color. And I would sing, but it's too early in the morning and my throat would not like it. So that was the Rosebud. Now we're going to go in with the Kirby. And I'm just overlapping that tail that I put out there, doing the darker areas here in the turn of the petal. So when you see these little lines here, what that means is that that petal is turned over a little bit. So there's a bit of a curve, which is what we're going to leave for the light area there. So basically there's a curve in the petal that is going to be brighter because of the edge there. Again, going down into that other pink, blending those two together and bringing it out. Now this area here has a little bit of a curve as well. So there's going to be a little bit of a shadow there. So I'm just going to darken that up a little bit. right here. And then we're going to take the curvy like that. Same with this one, just extending that dark area out and going into the curve with the medium tone. And then we're going to take our light tone, which is the blush pink, and we're just going to finish it off. And we're just going to blend right into the other colors. Like so. Oh, I missed that entire petal. Now you could do it the other way around. You could cover the entire petal with your light tone and then build your medium and your dark tones on top of your light. So what I mean by that, and I'll do it on this one here. So basically what I mean by that is you take your lightest color, you base color the entire area. I do this often when I'm coloring backgrounds or large spaces. And sometimes it works really good with doing small areas that, especially if you're on paper that doesn't work well with layering, that won't accept a lot of layers. So you just put down your base color. Then you can take whatever color you want. This one here is the rosebud, so this is the darkest one. So we're going to start with putting our dark tones in there. This is an overlap, so this is going to be darker here. So you just put in your darker tones there. Your darker colors. Now, of course, it doesn't have to be a 3-color blend. You can definitely use other colors like grays and that sort of thing to show your shadows and your shading. And then we're going to take our medium color and we're going to finish it off. Now, because we've already put the light color down, we don't need to put down the light color again. We just got to finish off with the medium color. Now this area here I'm doing all with the medium color because it's fully shadowed. These petals here are in the back. So this one here is not shadowed and this part here is not shadowed. I'm just going to put in our curve there, like so. And that gives us our light tone a little bit more prominent. Now if you want to, if you find that you have a lot of white spot from your white tones from doing a light layer, you can go back over it and fill it in and get those white spots filled in like that. Alright, now we're going to do this little one up here, and I think we're going to do it the same way because it's very small and I'm not going to use any of the medium. Well, I am going to use the medium, but I'm not going to be leaving a whole lot of the white, of the light, I should say. Boy, words are hard today. I'm going to fill in the majority of it because there's a lot of shadow in a bud. then we're going to take our medium and we're going to fill it in even more. Now we are going to leave a small amount of light there, but the majority of it is going to be fairly dark. So we're going to take a little bit of the light and just fill it in there and blend that together. So there is our flowers. Let's take our yellow and we will fill in this part here. And then we'll get some green and we'll test some greens. So let's do I think I want this one, which is Kelly green and Brazilianite, and I need a dark green. I think this one here. Nope, that's sea green. I don't want sea green. Let's use avocado. So we've got our greens. I've got to give this one a bit of a sharpen. Now, as you can see, the flowers or the leaves that we're going to be doing here are very, very small. So we're going to try to get a 3-color blend on them, but we may not be able to. So we will see. All right, so let's at least get the center areas dark. Darker. See, with this sort of thing, it probably would have been better for me to go in with a light tone first, a light color first, and then add the darker colors on top of it. And that way I don't blend it out. And you can barely see that at all. That's ridiculous. One sec, let me see if I can, let's see if I can fix that. Because, yeah, you can't even see that. Don't know why I think it's the brightness is too high. No. I'm not sure what is creating that and causing that to be so, because my saturation isn't very high. Let's turn that down a little bit and that down a little bit. Okay, so it's the white balance that's doing it. Okay. Trying to make sure that the paper looks white. All right, let's try another green on there and we'll see. Because now at least you can see the yellow a little bit. Nope, I still can't see that green. Oh well. It is green. You'll see it with the other camera, I promise. So I'm using the light green, which is the Brazilianite. And I'm just going to base coat all of the leaves right over top of the dark green that I put down the center. And we'll reestablish that dark green if it gets overtaken too much. I'm just doing this because it's a lot easier to keep that light green light if we put it down first. if we put down all the medium and the dark greens, then you're going to find that there's too much and it gets overtaken. So I'm going in with the Kelly green now, and we're going to go around the edge of the leaf and down the center a little bit. Some of these really small leaves are going to have a little bit more darkness to them. And I may end up just leaving them fairly alone, because we all know that younger leaves, which are the smaller leaves, tend to be a lighter green. New leaves. And the Kelly green isn't all that dark, so I'm not too worried about it overtaking. And then we're going to take our darker green, which is the avocado, and we're just going to reestablish that center line in our leaves. And that shadow there. Like that. Oops. Went out of the line. I colored out of the line. Alright, and then we're going to go down here. Up around the buds. And the bottoms of the flowers. So, as I was saying earlier, they are very erasable. And going out of the line here, I'll be able to show you. Let's make sure I don't have anything on my eraser. Another one of those things that you do have to wipe after you use. Otherwise, you will transfer that color onto an area. So let's do a test here. So we're going to erase some of the blue here. So that's just with one pass. And then we'll go the other way. And then the other way. Then both ways. And we'll just gently, I'm not putting a lot of pressure on this, gently lift the color off. And that is erased more than enough to be able to go over that with a different color without having that color come through. So they are very, very, very erasable. And I'm using the Caran d'Ache Perfection 7058B. I was also using on the Oopsie during my swatch. I used the which one was it? Nione pencil eraser. So there we have it. That is a show of how well they color. They do blend very, very nicely. They do layer very, very nicely. And on the Nina stock paper, they do combine very nicely. There is a huge amount of colors. See, you can see it better there. That's better. There is a very, very good selection of colors in each color family, as well as side families. So aquatic blues, aquatic greens, pinks, pink purples, purple reds, that sort of thing. There's a lot of variation in those families, which is fantastic. The only family that I feel is left out a little bit, which I do feel in a lot of sets gets left out a little bit, is of course the gray family. But a lot of sets that are smaller that don't have every color in possibility that you could ever need um, do tend to sacrifice the grays for more blues, for more greens, and that sort of thing. And I do understand that, and I do understand why, because a lot of people utilize the grays for things that they perceive to be gray. They don't use them as shadows and that sort of thing, which is perfectly fine. You don't have to use a gray for a shadow. You can definitely use a color, a deeper color for a shadow as well. But I like my grays. I have a thing for gray. So that is the Art and Fly 120 colored pencil set. Um, a great value at 28 cents a pencil for 120 pencils. And once again, they did 50-50 on the water test. Well, 2/3 on the water test. Red does have some issues with the water. And red is a very, very deep pigmentation. So with a lot of sets, even the more expensive and the light fast and all that fun stuff, even those types of sets have issues with water. So be very careful with any colored pencils that you're going to use, whether you've tested them or not. Um, do a little area on your page because it also depends upon paper. It depends upon what the pencils. It depends upon the mix in your water, that sort of thing. A lot of tap water has a lot of chlorine in it, which can break down the wax of your pencils as well. So just be careful of that. Unless you're using purified water from a bottle, there's chemicals and stuff like that in tap water that will have issues with your pencils as well. It did not pass the smudge test, so definitely make sure that you burnish or blend your pencils before rubbing your hands across them. It did work very well in a gradient as well as with the rainbow, and it did very well with the blender pencil, which was the Caran d'Ache blender pencil, as well as the white. However, the white does leave quite a bit of white spot. I think that's because I didn't put down enough pigment. But either which way, I'm not overly fond of blending with white unless I want to dampen a color. I was able to do a small coloring area here, and I will finish this off before I put my swatch sheet away. Let's actually finish off the red here as well. So let's grab a dark color here as well as the black. I think this one here. So I've got pomegranate and of course true red. I'm going to switch you over to the close-up so you can actually see what I'm doing. So we're going to just color this little bug. And I'm going to start with the light color because of the fact that it is fairly small. And I'm just going to go over the whole thing with one coat. I'm not going to finish my layer. I'm not going to build that color up yet. And I'm going over top of the black as well, the areas that would be black, just because it's so small and most of the ability to move that color around will be if I color the whole thing. So now I'm going in with the pomegranate on the shadowy areas. So the shadowy areas are these areas where the wings come in, attached to the body to the head. And that sort of thing like that. And then we're going to take our red again. This is the true red, not the pomegranate. And we're just going to go over it again. And we're going to fill in all that white spot. And then we're going to take charcoal, which is our black, which is a pain in the butt to get out, but that's okay. Then we'll give it a sharpen because we want it to be fairly sharp to get into small areas. Make sure you leave his little eyeballs out. And we're just doing all of the spots and making those stand out, like so. And then we'll do his little legs. You know, a lot of people say you don't need to color things that are black with a black or things that are white with a white. I still do. I like coloring them in just because it makes them stand out better. All right, so there's our little ladybug. So we have colored a couple of different things. I have gone over the typical time that I usually do for a review. So I am going to call it here and say this, my first impressions, and this is, I can't even call this a first impression video because I've used the Art and Fly pencils before. I own the 72 set and I really do enjoy them. So this isn't a first impressions video. This is, okay, so these are the colors that are added. These are all the colors together, and this is what they can do together. When I first got the Art and Fly pencils, it was early on in my channel. So I didn't do a lot of the testing and that sort of thing. So this gives you a good idea of the testing, lets you know that the colors themselves, the names, the look of the pencils, the numbering of the pencils, that sort of thing has not changed at all. They have added and included a pencil bag, that a case that you can keep all of your pencils in. Now, my only issue with the pencil case is that it's a little bit too tight and a little bit too hard to get to the first layer and the last layer of pencils in your bag. Other than that, I think it's a very, very nice set of pencils. I think they did very well in combining and creating the set of pencils. So I'm going to put these away. So as you can see, that once again, it is an individual pencil loop to put the pencils in, which is great. And we have used quite a few of the non-original colors. For example, the Brazil Brazilianite. Brazilianite. There we go. The Brazilianite is a new color. The avocado is a new color. And I think the Kelly green is an old color. So I was able to color with an old color and some new colors for the greens. All of the pinks are a new color. Um, let's see if the blue, no, the blue's an old color. So yeah, all of the pinks are a new color. The reds are an old colors. The white, of course, is an old color. The charcoal is an old color. The yellow and the blue are old colors. So there are a bunch of new colors in the set that are actually really, really good colors. And they do enhance the set quite a bit. So do I think that the additions to the 72 set were done well? I do. I feel that the additional colors that they have provided does give us a very well-rounded set, as well as a good variation between greens, between colors. The only one that I'm finding that look quite a bit alike, and they're not, I know they're not, they've got different undertones, but there's still a lot of similarities between these colors here, like the Cape Verde and the Emerald. They've got different undertones. The Cape Verde has a blue undertone where the Emerald has more of a green undertone. Um, like this has more blue in it than this one. I think that made sense, maybe. All right, guys. With that, I would like to say thank you all very much for watching. Of course, remember to like, comment, and subscribe to any YouTube artist that you enjoy. My final thoughts on the Art and Fly 120 set is for value for money, they're very good. For color distribution, how much color is in each family and that sort of thing, is a very well balanced set. The addition to the 72 set is definitely something that works well and was needed. I didn't use my 72 set as much as I should have because there was certain color families that were just a lot smaller and I didn't have that variation that I really desired. They are an oil-based pencil. They are approximately $34 with the coupon if the coupon is still available. Um, the only problem I have with them, of course, once again, is the case. There is some issues with trying to get colors in and out of the first and last layer of pencils. The pages don't stay open very well. Like if you try to get to this one, it doesn't stay there. And vice versa. You try to do that and it flops in and will close it on you if you're not careful. So yeah, other than that issue with the packaging, with the case, I think the case will do very well in protecting your pencils. My only issue is trying to get them in and out of the first page and the last page. With that, I would like to say always remember to relax, color, and stay safe. Again, if you are a part of our Discord family or want to join our Discord family, hit the link below for joining. And if you are a part of the Discord family, make sure that you stop by and wish Davissa a happy birthday. Again, Davissa, happy birthday. Have a fantastic day. I will be there today because I have a day off. So I will, of course, be able to sing happy birthday to you later. With that, I would like to say goodbye to everyone. I hope you all have a fantastic day and, of course, a wonderful weekend. We will see you again tomorrow for Saturday. Okay, guys. Bye bye for now.